So another thing to know about us is our excessive literalness. As a warning, I tend to use the words logical and literal interchangeably, even though they aren't really all that interchangeable. Logic is the brain's mechanism that allows you to process new information and have it make sense. Literal is the concept of taking information at face value without any sort of inferences, assumptions, or changes. These are both very good traits to have, but we tend to take it a bit far, frequently without realizing it. 2 quick stories to illustrate my point. So one time when I was like 3 or so, we had some guests over at our house, and when their visit came to an end, my dad, trying to be a good host, told us to shake hands, and I looked at him skeptically and genuinely did not understand the reasoning behind this task that he had asked of me. And then he encouraged me again in that voice that parents use when they're loving and impatient, like, you know, the voice talking about, go on, shake hands. And it seemed like a really odd request to me, but I guess there's a reason for this request, so I obeyed and shook hands. The hands in question were my own, and I shook them, just like Dad asked. And I got laughed at! What the heck, Dad? Story number 2 is the time in 1st grade when I learned, the hard way, that in the English language, the same word can have more than one meaning. Our 1st grade teacher was an art fanatic. One of our many art projects was to draw Puff the Magic Dragon from the song of the same name. Teacher would draw his interpretation, and we'd all copy his lead, Bob Ross style. My embarrassment came when it came to the face. He told us all to add some bags under the eyes. And to my 6-year-old self, bags are things that you put other things in. Eventually those stupid drawings were done, hanging up in the hall for everyone to admire, or in my case, make fun of. And it was explained to me that bags under your eyes means this, not this. In both cases, I wasn't trying to be a smart Aspie, but I had just never been told otherwise. We're a lot like computers in this regard. We can do cool stuff with information we already have, but info needs to be explicitly and exactly presented to us because we don't always assume one thing from another thing. I'm told sometimes that's more of a guy thing than an Aspie thing, but I digress. That being said, my comparison of Aspies to computers is a moderately moot point, because if you understand computers enough to understand the comparison, then it's too late for you, you're already edging into Aspie territory. Anyway, let me elaborate. I've started doing computer programming. This is the art of being able to tell the computer what to do. And in case you didn't know, that's a lot more intricate than you might assume. Computers will do as instructed. Always. Exactly. They will only do as instructed, then nothing else. They will do so even when such actions would violate human concepts like common sense. 2 more examples. You know that thing on the shampoo bottles that says shampoo, rinse, repeat? If you gave that command to a computer, it would do so. It would shampoo, and then it would rinse, and then it would shampoo again, and then it would rinse again, and it would just keep doing so indefinitely. Morning, noon, night, it would just keep going, and keep repeating, because those were the instructions that it was given. Even though a real person might stop after a cycle or 2, because they realize that shampooing and rinsing oneself all day, every day is probably not the best use of their time. Example number 2 is my own dinking around. As I said earlier, I try my hand at programming. Why am I making out with a white head in my engagement picture? As a self-induced practice, I wanted to randomize a tournament grid with 58 slots, so I wrote a small program to randomly throw out the numbers 1 through 58 in some random order. At least that's what I was trying to do. What I actually told the computer to do was pick a number at random and then show it to me 58 times. So my screen showed 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 58 times. That was helpful. I had to go back and figure out what I had done wrong, and sure enough, the computer had done what I told it to. I just didn't tell it correctly, or explain the parameters well enough to get the results I wanted. The computer lacked the ability to make assumptions about what I was asking it to do. It wasn't to spite me, it wasn't trying to be flippant, it just didn't know any better, and that's how it's wired. And so it is with Aspies. We tend to not draw conclusions, or at least not the right ones, when presented with limited instruction or information. In a lot of ways, we are more or less computers, or robots. I like robots. Heck, I based my YouTube username on them. That's another story, though. I'm Trev-Bot, and these are the Diaries of an Aspie.